Hey guys, I'm Lauren from That Sage and welcome to my studio. If you're into food photography, then you're in the right place. So hit that subscribe button and let's get into today's video. Today we're going to talk about one of my favourite composition rules you can use to spice up your food photos. So if your compositions are feeling a bit monotonous, or you're stuck in a bit of a creative rut, then compositional techniques can be a great way to jumpstart your creative juices and give you some new ways to explore food photography. The rule that we're going to be talking about today is the rule of odds. So we're going to spend some time talking about what the rule of odds is, why it works, and then I'm going to take you through some examples of how I use the rule of odds to shoot some blueberry pie, because who doesn't like blueberry pie? When you start diving into the world of compositional techniques, it doesn't take long to realize that there are about 1 million different ones that you can try, and it can be pretty overwhelming if you're new to using them. The rule of odds is a simple technique to start with and will immediately help you frame your subjects in your composition. To help you get started, I've got a free composition planning kit which you can download and print from the link below to help get you started, and I'll be showing you how to use this a little bit later on in the video. The rule of odds states that when you're including a group of subjects in your photo, an odd number rather than an even number will produce a more interesting and more visually pleasing composition. In food photography, we're often photographing a group of subjects, whether it's cupcakes, pieces of fruit, several bowls of pasta, or anything else really. So it's a rule that can often be applied. When a frame includes an even number of subjects, like 2 or 4, your brain tends to organise the subjects into pairs, which can make your compositions look a bit dull. When you use the rule of odds to place one main subject in the frame with 2 other supporting subjects, your eyes will naturally fall to a middle subject, giving your photo a nice focal point. Your eye tends to naturally wander to the middle of a group, so using the rule of odds in your food photography is a great, easy way to draw your viewer's eye to exactly the part of the photo you want them to focus on. Another thing that's a really important part of food photography and any other form of still life photography is the shapes that we create with our subjects and props. A common form of using the rule of odds is to have 3 subjects in the frame. This way, they either always form a line or a triangle, and both of these are really pleasing shapes in a composition. Something I do before every single shoot is plan my photos by making a quick sketch of the structure. This bit of planning allows me to spend a bit of time thinking things through, like the composition technique I'm going to use, the camera angle, the props, the positioning, and I can get an idea on paper of what my vision for this shoot is before I even pick up my camera. As I said earlier, food photography is a form of still life photography rather than, say, portraiture, which can be more about capturing fleeting, candid moments. So it pays to be a little more planned. And now it's time to come back to that composition kit. So in order to make this planning process a bit easier, I've created this food photography composition planning kit, which you can download for free using the link in the description. I use this kit all the time because it's already mapped out with the right aspect ratio, and I added a rule of thirds grid on top to give you a starting point for planning out your composition. So let's jump into this shoot and see how we can use the rule of odds. So in this video, we're going to look at 3 different examples of the rule of odds. I took 3 shots during this shoot of the blueberry pies, one with 3 subjects, one with 5, and one with 7. So let's start with the first one. Now, I wanted to keep this composition simple, so I placed the 3 pies in a line, creating that line shape that we mentioned earlier. But that's not the only shape created in this photo, and I'll tell you more about that in a moment. So I used the rule of thirds grid on my composition kit to position each pie on the center third, and this is how it looked in my sketch. And to keep things a bit interesting, I left one pie uncovered to showcase the beautiful blueberries, and I decorated the other 2 pies with a few decorations. Now, while these decorations may look random, can you see the rule of odds in there too? I've placed the decorations in and around the pies in groups of 1 or 3, with the groups of 3 forming triangles, which also adds a bit of interest to this composition. Okay, on to the next example. We've got 5 things going on here rather than 3. So this allows multiple triangle shapes to be present in the photo, framing each piece nicely. I still kept the main subject to just 3 to make sure that the photo had a focus. So here's how my plan looked on the composition kit for this one. The extra white bowl and the sieve act nicely as complementary elements to the main subjects. Don't be afraid to use your props in this way to add a little bit of shape and direction to your food photos. Now, in order to help the white bowl fit into the scene, I added some flour to it as it's something that would naturally be found on a table where you were rolling out pastry. Whenever you're thinking about adding an element to your photo, make sure that it makes sense with what you're shooting, as everything that goes into the frame adds to your story. And for the last example, we are moving from 5 up to 7 items. So in this photo, I've used the 3 pies plus 4 bowls to create a diagonal line shape in the composition. When there are this many items in a photo, as well as the line shape, there are also many triangles formed. So here's a look at how this one looked on the plan. I've moved the sieve into the corner and placed it on a napkin to make it a little bit less central, so it no longer features as a main piece in the photo. Instead, it acts like a leading line down to the main pies. Beyond 7 items, your brain kind of stops being able to tell the difference between an odd and an even number, and instead it just sees many objects. So in that case, the rule of odds kind of becomes a bit of a moot point. So for example, in this photo of the blueberries, which I took just before I made these pies, there are so many in the photo you would never know if it's an odd or an even number. So when you're thinking about the rule of odds, it works best in photos with up to around 7 subjects, and beyond that, it's probably not worth worrying about too much. So there you have a really simple overview of using the rule of odds in your food photography. Don't forget to download your free composition planning kit using the link in the description. That's really going to help you get you started. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.